Hey folks, that Mr. Shy here from Tesseract Mini Studios, and today we've got a really cool behind the curtain look at how some of the sweetest terrain in Wargaming is made. So let's roll that intro, let's get on with it. For regular viewers of the channel, you'll know I'm quite the evangelist when it comes to MDF terrain. I love the versatility, affordability, and the overall sort of hardline aesthetics that you get from sharp cut wood, especially for cyberpunk games like Infinity. So the title of this video promises the best MDF terrain you'll ever own, and I really want to deliver on that. But how would you go about that when everyone's needs are different? Well, for me, the way you solve that is to have something that's made how you want it, to your vision. That's always going to be the absolute best thing you could have. And so to achieve that, I turned to today's video's sponsor, Algolaser. With their Alpha 22-watt consumer laser engraving and cutting machine, they armed me to the teeth with a great tool to realise my dream terrain. With cutting speeds of up to 30,000 millimeters per minute and the ability to cut materials as thick as 45 millimeters, this beauty can mince through MDF, acrylic, and many other hobby materials. Links are in the description for the product and their current promotions, so be sure to check them out. Now, here at the studio, we've had a dream for a long time now to own a fully featured, proper kitted out MDF Infinity table, but you can't really just jump into designing and making something like that with no experience at all. So before that came, there had to be some iteration, some learning, and that's where we're going to begin. I designed a bunch of stuff to make with this thing before I even considered looking at terrain, because I knew it would take some effort. So first of all, I want to show you a little look at the design process. Meet Lightburn, the consensus best software for laser cutting. Essentially, this is just a simple vector graphics package that converts the images you make into G-code that the laser can read and make cuts from. Unlike a 3D printer where you save files to a thumb drive and then plug them into the machine, the laser actually plugs directly into your computer, more like a traditional printer, and you send the job to it by clicking the start button in Lightburn. So using this simple software, I designed a few interesting projects. You've already seen a bunch of them in a pile, but let's take a closer look at a couple of those. Here we have, first of all, a leather holder for a LARP character card. You wear it around your neck so you can always have access to your character info. Notice how the laser can both engrave and cut the leather. I've actually recently taken up leathercraft, I've just been learning it, so this has been a really useful tool for helping out with that. Next on the list is another LARP accessory, but this one's a tracker, and it may not just be for LARP. The wheels on the side allow you to keep track of your current life and anything else you may want to know. The laser can cut accurately enough that fixings and fittings like these nuts and bolts can also be integrated into the designs. Here's a really simple, straightforward one. Some order tokens for Infinity. Literally just cut a circle with an engraved chevron in the middle. 2 minutes of design time for a game aid that just feels a little bit more premium than the cardboard that comes in the box. And speaking of game aids, here's a 246 measuring widget which I designed and cut again from MDF. Lightburn is great at allowing you to make accurate measurements on objects, which means, unlike with resin 3D printing, you can make tools like this that are measurement sensitive, and it's pretty reliable. So that gives you a bit of an idea of the design process and the kinds of things that you can design. However, let's be honest, you came here for terrain. Terrain is what made you click this thumbnail, so let's deliver on that. With just a couple of days of learning the software, I was able to design what I consider to be the core for a fully featured Infinity table. A small building, a large building, which fits the small building on top of it, a tall building that comes out at the same height as the previous two when stacked together, a panic room / objective room, a sniper tower, ladders, stairs and walkways to connect stuff, and some scatter and objective markers. And from there, once it was all designed, the laser was more than happy to start cutting things for me and turning my ideas into reality. I was actually kind of dumbstruck at how quickly this machine produces finished work. As someone who's used to 5-hour plus wait times for 3D prints, having stuff pop off in 10 minutes was pretty cool. Now I'm sure you can probably tell by this point, but all of this was a very simple, very enjoyable, and most importantly, very achievable process to be able to get all of it from my head into reality. But I do think that before I tell you in all honesty that you should go out and buy a laser, we should probably talk about costs first, because this is where it's a bit of a drawback. Notice how under my laser there's this honeycomb board? Well, you're going to need one of those, and it'll cost you at least 50 quid. The Algolaser Alpha has a huge 400 by 400mm cutting area, so you're going to need a 400 by 400 honeycomb. Next up, the enclosure. In some of my shots, you'll notice this ugly red enclosure. I tried so hard to minimize how often I showed the machine under this because it just looks horrible, but truth be told, it's an absolute necessity. Lasers produce a lot of smoke, and some of the materials you'll be cutting produce really nasty fumes. Now initially, I'd hoped I could get away with these safety glasses that come with the machine and my respirator that I use for airbrushing, but no, not even close to sufficient. There's a good range of enclosures available on Amazon at a broad range of prices. I'll include an affiliate link below to one which I think is better than mine. And it also cannot be overstated that burning holes in things is obviously a fire hazard, so you may well want to shell out for a fire extinguisher to keep near the laser. I happen to already own this one, and I'm really glad for it. So with all of these extras considered, plus materials, plus the cost of the laser itself, you're going to be on the hook for well over £1,000. That's probably approaching 1,500 US dollars. It's a pretty serious cash investment. Whilst I don't necessarily think that getting a laser is going to be for every hobbyist, just a quick glance at Etsy shows that there is a burgeoning market for cottage industry laser businesses. Hell, I mean, that's exactly what I'm going to do with mine now that I own it. In fact, I even popped a link below to the new Facebook page that I've just made for that very laser business. But even with all of that considered, these high quality lasers becoming more available and more accessible can only be a good thing, because it's going to mean more wargamers making more wargaming things. And that not only means options, but it also means custom pieces. And again, custom work is absolutely a service I'm planning to offer with my laser business, so reach out if you can think of anything that you might want me to make for you. So for me, once again, the best anything that you'll ever own is one that's made to your specs and your vision. And that's exactly what I've ended up with this awesome Infinity terrain that I designed from scratch. To also now own a tool that opens up a huge range of other makes I can produce is, well, it's just the icing on the cake. So huge thanks once again to Algolaser for sponsoring this video. Please do show them your support, folks, because in turn, you are supporting the channel by doing so. Again, links are in the description of this video. My laser journey is only a couple of weeks old, and you can already see a huge number of wargaming and nerd culture related stuff that I've been able to come up with. And I have no doubt in my mind that you, the community, will be able to think of way cooler stuff than I can, and probably design it better too. So, should you rush out and buy yourself a laser? Well, it depends. I truly, really do believe that custom designed laser MDF terrain is the best thing you will ever be able to put on your table. But maybe you don't have the time for all the design work and for waiting for the pieces to cut. Maybe you don't have the cash for the very expensive equipment. Or maybe you just don't have the inclination. And those are all totally valid stances. And I guess if that's the case, reaching out to one of these many laser businesses that are starting to pop up is a great option and something you could maybe consider if you want to kit out a new table. Either way, lasers are awesome, and they are going to be a welcome addition and expansion to the wargaming hobby with so many relevant applications. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and please do consider clicking that subscribe button down below. Along with all the other links that are in the description, you will find one to my Patreon and Ko-fi if you wish to support the channel directly. And other than that, I think I'm going to go and figure out how to carve my name into the moon. So thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you in the next one, and bye-bye for now.